Being able to create custom openings in archicad walls has been a nightmare for a long time, and that's because, of course, we have had no tools for this, because previously you had to use a morph and make it intersect the wall and then use solid element operation to subtract from it and then hide the morph itself in order to have an opening, which would of course take a lot of time. So if you wanted to create this facade here, Navyan design in India, it would take you ages and it would be a very heavy file because of different morphs that you're using. So even if you wanted to create something like the hexalace, also located in India, you would have to use morphs and hide them in the model. And then also the openings tool comes with other added advantages, like being able to create this beautiful primary school play area located in Israel. We're going to take those 3 examples in this case and demonstrate how to use the openings tool. So by the end of the video, we should be able to create ourselves a beautiful pattern in a wall, something like this, something very simple. And we should also be able to come up with this beautiful pattern as well for the play area and being able to use those different colors and different openings. And this is different because it's niched within. And then as well, we should be able to scale it up and create this beautiful facade and to understand the different elements that make it up. So let's get started with the first example. So for the first example, I'm going to use a wall. So I'm going to go into the settings and I'm going to make this wall a simple one at that. So let's use a simple wall here. Perhaps it's 200mm thick. And what does it look like? Stucco white rough will work for us. So let's just draw it simply here. So this is the wall that we want to create our openings on. We are using the defaults, nothing fancy. So let's create a limit such that we don't show any of the things which are behind, because apparently I have prepared something behind. So let's be able to see just that wall. So if we say open elevation in new tab, we have it here as the south elevation. So let me turn off the trace reference such that we can see. So this is the area we want to be able to create our pattern on, but in order to be able to create it, we need to have it in 2D. So for that, I have attached in the link below some of these things which you can use as your reference. And before we bring them in, what I like to do is to go here under the worksheet and create a new independent worksheet where I put in the reference image. So this is going to be triangular openings. So this is a new independent worksheet which I'd like to put in this thing. So if I bring something like this to here, you can grab these in the description below if you want to follow along just fine, because watching someone do something is one thing and being able to do it yourself is also another thing. So I'd recommend you to try that out. So let's get it to this reference here. And for cases of scale, you want to scale it when it is still around here. So we will get a line, and I need to know where the 3 meters stop. And in my case, I am going to use Ctrl K to scale. I'll say okay, and then come in here, and I think I'm going to stop my scale to here. So being able to stop the 3 meters right there. So that should be able to work for me. So I'll right click on this and say show as trace reference, such that we will use this when we go back to our south elevation. And with that turned on, of course, it has not come, not sure why, but let's browse for it. So come to the trace reference, go to choose reference and browse for the trace reference, which is this one right here, openings, triangular openings. So this is what it is, and that's the scale that I like to use. So we can drag this reference to where our wall starts from, so somewhere there, and now we begin to draw. So you have a few things that you can change here in the trace reference. Let me bring it up. If you cannot see your reference, just be sure to go here in reference and make sure that the figure is turned on, because by default figure is not turned on, and this thing you cannot see and you don't know why. But if you have figure turned on, just make sure that it is. And as well, I used a different color. For example, you can choose a different color here, and you can choose how far the opacity is. So that's something you can do. And then also you can send it to the back, because by default it's at the back. You can bring it forward such that you can be able to see whatever you're tracing, especially in elevations. That's enough about the trace reference tool. So now we want to be able to draw. So unfortunately we are not able to draw using the openings tool directly onto the surface. You can see that I have the custom shape selected, but nothing is happening, and that's because it doesn't work yet in 2D. So I want to select this. I go in 3D by pressing F5, and I am going to start now to draw the shapes on here. So just making sure that this is selected, and that's the shape that I want. So I draw the first shape, so I don't have to have it accurate. So right now I'm just drawing something which resembles what I need in elevation. So if I go back here, I can now be able to move this and adjust it to the shape that I have here, which is pretty cool, huh? So now I can come in here and just grab the points and move them around. It's very handy. So to create a copy, all you have to do is to drag with Ctrl D and Ctrl again to have a plus, and be able to move this thing around, and Ctrl M to mirror and drag this thing into place. And that's all you need to know in order to create this. So it's fairly simple and easy to work with, just that you have to work to put it either in floor plan or in 3D. It doesn't work in 2D for now, so be sure to note that. So I'll go ahead and speed up the rest of the process, such that I don't bore you all day with this stuff. Right, so once you have finished everything, you should have something fairly simple, something like that. So you can try it out, fairly easy. On to the next one. So for the second example, we are going to use a different kind of wall. We are going to use a fairly massive wall, which is going to be very thick, and I'm going to make it timber because it is, and we need to have it as thick as possible. So I'll make a meter. And what it looks like, I think I already made a material for it, and it's called light wood. So I already made a surface for it, which has a texture. So I'll say okay and come and place it in here. Fairly simple to do. So now we want to be able to see what it looks like in elevation. So let me create also a limit such that we do not include anything else from the things that we have been doing. And I say open with current view. And like we did before, we need a reference to use. So right click, create a new independent, and I'll call it honeycomb play for children, and create that. And of course now I need to go find it, and there you are. Drag and drop it in quite simply and have it somewhere here. For example, To get the scale right, I'm going to use the bottom here and put it at the X mark here, such that I can easily reference it. Pick a line here, which is going to be a different color, and I'm going to make this 3 meters, and this image is very huge, so I may want to scale it because 3 meters are already stopping somewhere here. So Ctrl K to scale this, and in order to get this right, I imagine 3 meters would come up to there, looking at the height of our little children there. So where's the red line? There you are. Yeah, so this should be fairly the size. Go to the elevation, go to the trace reference and choose reference, and then I browse for it. And there you are, honeycomb. And it's there at the origin. Now I can pick the drag to drag the reference from here to there. So now we want to be able to draw a hexagon. So what method do you use? You can literally search it online if you aren't sure just how to do it. For my case, I'll try and figure out here a circle onto which I might circumscribe the hexagon. So that will work, and of course I'm going to need its radius, so I'll pick this, put it here, Control click to remove that, pick it again, put it onto the next one, Control click to remove this, once more, put it here, Control click to remove that, and finally here, Control click to remove that, and now we can begin to draw tangents at the bottom. So make sure they are horizontal, and of course we also need a perpendicular line here such that we are able to create the second shape, which should be 90 degrees to that, perpendicular to that. So be sure to put in 90 and have that along there, which is super cool. Then we can even mirror it. Don't know why we went through all the trouble if we could mirror this, and then mirror this one as well from the center, and we have ourselves a hexagon. But now we can't be able to pick an openings tool and draw, so like we did before, I will select this F5 3D, and now I need to draw in the shape. So before we do anything, we want to be able to come in here and tell archicad that we need this second kind of shape where we are just doing a niche, and I'm going to make this 300 back to have it 600, 700 deep. And even here you can choose what shape it should look like. Maybe you can remove a symbol if you don't want to see a symbol in the floor plan. And yeah, you can also now come in here and draw a shape that just wants to resemble the other one, but all you want is to get the basic shape up, and then you specify where it should open to. So that will work. So let's go on to the ground floor. Yes, it sure will. It is in the right place. So now we go to our elevation. grab those points and put them to positions where they are supposed to be. Something like that. You can duplicate it by Ctrl D plus Ctrl again in order to do that. So I'll do only those three. And right now, if we see what that looks like in 3D, we have that. So if you wanted to see the edges around, you might want to reduce this a little bit. For example, I'll take mine by 25 here. So now if I go to 3D, it's right here, super cool. And in order to see it well, I might as well go to the 3D projection settings and bring the light behind my camera so you guys can see this. Isn't it cool? And of course you can create the cushions in there. So what basically I did, I got a beam and then I created a custom profile, which is a cushion. So I have one, for example, cushion 1 detail, and I'm going to choose this kind of type of construction such that I'm able to create myself something like that. Just clicking in 3D. So that's the upward facing one, and there you have it. So how did I create this? It's just a section. I made a section and saved it as a profile, which you can do in options, element attributes, and profile manager. And if I can bring it out for you guys, this one here, if I go into edit mode, there you have it. It's pretty simple. It's a cushion beveled on both surfaces, filleted is the right word. And then I have some timber here and timber at the end. So for the upper section, all you have to do is to do the same thing, but of course you're going to have to flip it like I did here. It's down facing now instead. You want to choose the polygonal kind of construction and double click to finish, and that is it. Be sure that it's double down facing. So for this one, I already made the opposite to enable it to be like that. Cool. And that's all you have to do. And for this face here, you can choose to use any other thing, a slab or morph. I like to use a morph because you can easily draw that shape, so we need an elevation for that. So in order to create it, all you have to do is pick the morph tool, which you should find around here. Yes, once you have it, just draw the little shape around. And let me see, yeah, that should be able to work. So be sure to look for those corners. And once you have the shape, you just need to go in the floor plan and find where that elevation has been drawn, which is along the elevation, and then drag it and put it along the surface where it's supposed to rest. And of course you need to put in the colors that you want to see. For example, this one, it should be peach, I think. Paint peach or something, is it? Yeah, there you are, but that's the wrong color, but you get the point. Moving on to the final one. So, how did we get to this point? This is really cool. I think I like this surface. Let's bring in some light. We are not seeing a thing yet. So let's go to the projection settings and bring the light behind the camera, because that's where the magic happens. I think let me put it at an angle to have some drama. There you are. This is super cool. And you can see just that. And as well, look at how those shadows are formed on the interior. This is so cool and so nice. Well, how did we get here? First of all, we need to bring in the reference. So the trace reference, I'll come here. I created one which is here, called hexalace. There you are. So it's right here. And once I had created it, let me click this such that you don't get confused. So this is it, which you can get in the description below. So once you have it in, come to the elevation that you create, which is the north elevation, and obviously you want to trace that. So if I remove the trace, it's gone. Put back the trace, it's that one, which is, if you find here, it's hexalace, which you can browse and look for right there, and there it is. Put it into place. After you have put it in place, you want to create your first shape, which is this shape here, for example, which is an opening created by the openings tool. So the openings tool, nothing you have to change in the settings, but you know, it's just there. So you have that, and you can go around and do multiple of them. So if I try to select, you can see that these are very many openings that I have juxtaposed in order to create this looking thing. And it's super cool. That's all you have to do, because this is one wall that we have opened like we did at the beginning of this video. So that is for creating this layer right here. So all you have to do is put in the time and multiply many of these shapes to create this nice look. So secondly, the next layer that you want to add is this one here, which is the morph tool. And how do you make that? So if I come back to the north elevation, all you want is to create that shape, which is, if I bring my polylines, for example, I'm going to bring one of these and I show you from around here. So I'm going to pick a morph. So all you have to do is pick the morph tool and draw the shape in here. And by the morph also doesn't allow us to create the shape within. So I think you might need to first do something like this, just in order to subtract a form out of the mesh. Otherwise we don't have subtract from polygon using the morph tool. So you should be able to do a simple form like that. And once you have done that, you could as well remove this line here by Ctrl Shift to select and deleting that one. Yeah, so now we have a uniform thing which we need to extrude in 3D. But before we extrude it, you need to identify where it is in the ground floor or the first floor. So let's see, morph, where are you? These are the existing morphs, but I need to see the morph which we have just drawn, which should be along that elevation. If I go to the first floor, there you are, it's there. So now if I bring it near here and go into 3D, we should be able to see something going on here. Yeah, there you are. And now we should be able to give it a thickness, something like 50 in my case, and as well, and then you're done. Then the next thing is to multiply the thing depending on what we have in 2D. So that's it. It's pretty easy to do and it's super exciting, and you can see the amount of possibilities that we have with this openings tool. Let me know in the comments what you think about it, and I hope you get to use it and do some awesome stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.